But like, what if the industry-wide KPIs are wrong?
I was pulling out my non-existent hair. Welcome back to Owned and Operated. What's going on, John? Super pumped to be here.
If you're good at sales, it's because you know how to talk to people, not because you're pushy. But I also think that's the benefit of talking to people is you find out what's possible that you just don't know. For going on 2 years, I've partnered with Service Scalers to do our Google Ads, PPC, and SEO. And the results have been huge. It's been really exciting to watch as our website consistently jumps up rank as we're using more technology and we're moving faster than our peers who are all using legacy home service marketing companies. We use Service Scalers for PPC, our local SEO, our on-page website SEO, and our LSA. So give them a call if you're looking for leads.
Welcome back to Owned and Operated.
Yeah.
What's going on, John? Super pumped to be here. This is workshop week. Tomorrow is actually the big day.
Yeah.
Big group coming in. Really excited.
Yep.
How are you doing? Are you ready?
Good. Yeah, good. This will be our second workshop. I think we started talking about doing these like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, this is fun. This is our second workshop. And we had one in the summer, but everyone's vacation plans got sort of weird. But I think I like this April, September
flow.
Yeah, I think I like that.
I agree, because in summer too, it's like everything is booming for HVAC, and predominantly we have a lot of HVAC people that come to this.
Yeah.
And so when you're smaller, like the 1-2 millions, you might not have the ability to step away. Whereas in September, you do.
Yeah.
So,
well, and like family vacations, we learned that with Holdco Conf too, of like, it was really complicated to do it. The first year we did it in July, and that was much more complicated than September.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like people like need this shoulder season or like basically non-summer conference. But yeah, this is fun. I think we have 20 some people at this workshop. So this is really cool. It starts tonight in like a couple hours.
I'm so excited. So it's super cool to meet everybody. Like that part is really neat. There's so many interesting people doing so many.
Well, I don't know anybody. I know like 2 people from
You
this.
knew a bunch of people on the last one.
The last one I knew like 10.
Yeah.
So this is going to be like new friends.
I think one of the coolest parts is actually people reaching out, talking to me, saying, hey, I'm having this issue, this issue. And I go, hey, we'll talk about this like in depth. I'll give you the overview. I'll give you the juice if you reach out to me.
Yeah.
But at these things, like we really can dig in for 2 days into every single little bit.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the other cool part that's crazy is how much a change has happened in 5 months.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking like LSA alone. So
LSAs was a big part of our marketing, and now it's like LSAs are weird. They're on the rocks again.
And what Google said that they're going to start taking out reviews, and so that changes LSA strategy.
Yeah.
So like this is such a dynamic space with AI.
Yeah, our content's updated from like 5 months ago.
Strategy. I know your strategy has changed. My strategy has changed.
Totally. And we spent a bunch of time on like org chart, and it's like how we think about org chart is going to be different because of Oka's different. And
exactly.
Yeah.
You don't need as much because AI is now stepping in to help coach, and now maybe less managers or leads. And so this is such a dynamic, flowing kind of work environment that I'm really excited. I mean, I think I said this publicly, but I took a lot away from the last conference as well and implemented, and now I'm coming back with receipts.
Yeah.
Like these are 5-month receipts of, hey, I've done this strategy. I told you guys I was doing this strategy, but now here's the results of the strategy, which is really fun.
That is fun. We should, one of my like goals, I wanted to start working on it for next spring, but we just couldn't get there, is like, I like these events. I think they're fun. Before, like this is our second one for home service, but before that, we're going on our 3rd year of Holdco Conf, and we had a few Holdco boot camps. So this is like my 7th or 8th event. But I really want, like, the big ones are fun.
Yeah.
Like Holdco Conf, we had like 100 to 130 people each time. Like that was awesome. So I'm pretty sure
times.
I think next year we got to do a conference.
This is live, John talking about this, but in private, John has talked about this about 10 times. I want to do a big event. I want to do a big event.
They're just so much fun.
Yeah.
It's fun because you get to be like, all right, how do I throw an epic 3-day party.
Mm-hmm.
Spend as much, because you don't need to make any money.
Yeah.
Like, how do I spend as much as humanly possible to have like 200 friends have an awesome time?
Yeah.
It's sweet. And then like ticket sales pay for it. So like there's no like cost to it. And you just like everybody learns, they make new friends. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great networking event.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody who listens to this probably resonates with that because it's very difficult as a small business owner, or even medium-sized business owner, or a large business owner, to have friends who understand what you're going through at the moment.
Yeah.
Because all my friends from high school and from college, they're all great friends. Love them to death. You know, no shade to them, but they don't understand what making payroll's like on the next week, or they don't understand, somebody on workers' comp or any of these kind of situational things that we go through. And so having a good group of people around you is really neat. Plus I can tell my wife that we got 200 people to show up at an event, that these are all just Twitter internet friends. These are real people. And she probably still won't care and still make fun of me.
Yeah, she probably still won't. But yeah. I think a conference would be fun.
That'd be fun. I'd love that.
I think it's too late for April. But I think September.
1 year from today, mark it on your calendars, guys.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. So what's new in your business?
Oh my goodness. So business has been going really, really steady. Plumbing is up and running. We a couple weeks ago, or last week, we talked to Chris Hoffman. I didn't want to tell him on the podcast that we stole 2 of his plumbers.
Let's go.
But his plumbers, the training that the Hoffman Bros has given these guys, they're absolutely killers.
Oh, that's great.
They are such good plumbers. They're such good selling techs. Very happy with them. We had to convert that model. And this is like last month we saw it. This month it's J curving. Like, it was like, hey, this plumber's getting his feet under him. He's got the new truck. He's got all the processes down.
Yeah.
At our business, and like he's starting to sell. And now this month they're coming out the gate just firing.
That's awesome.
Repipe. Dig job, water heater, and like we're going into the water heater season. So I am so excited. I got great copy. I got great creative. Also kind of stolen from Hoffman Brothers, but like the part where you cut the water heater part and look inside of it. So we're doing some fun stuff copy wise with that. But yeah, like plumbing is doing really well. We have too much work and we're trying to figure out how to prioritize and capacity issues, even though we are 2 selling techs to 3 installers. We're still keeping up with install issues.
Yeah.
What are you guys 1-to-1?
No, it actually looks a bit like that. Yeah. We've been more installers than techs for a long time.
Yeah.
But when we first started, you just get better and better at doing it.
And that's what we're trying to, like, we're working on all those SOPs and like, hey, what happens in this situation or this situation? But overall, I'm really happy. Our team has stepped up from some issues that we kind of had recently in the past, and we're going all in the right direction. We're going to finish out this year really strong. We're starting to understand how to give opportunities better. Like all the playbook feels like it's starting to come together.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still dealing with some of the, the headaches that every small business has, but feels good. What about you?
That's awesome, man. It's been a really interesting like past month that we're wrapping. So, a couple like big changes that we've had. We interviewed Tommy Mello like 2 months ago at this point.
Yeah.
And so, when I think everyone's probably like this. I know you, like when I've said stuff about like what we do, it like keeps you up at night.
100%.
Yeah. But I also think that's the benefit of talking to people is you find out what's possible that you just don't know. So like what Tommy, and I think that's important. I'm going to say this and then I'll give the big changes for us, but like, I think that's important because you start growing this business and you rely on like industry-wide KPIs.
Yeah.
But like, what if the industry-wide KPIs are wrong?
Yeah.
And like, what if everyone's aiming at the wrong target?
That.
So like, so some of the big things that have like popped out to us recently is what should your HVAC equipment pricing be? And every industry metric is 30%. That's what everyone has said for years.
Yep.
But then you talk to the highest performing companies in the industry, and their equipment is 21 to 23%.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. That's a
huge.
Third.
Yep.
That's a third. So then we start working. So we found that out maybe a month ago. Yeah. Drove us nuts. So we've been renegotiating vendor contracts. We've been dialing in our HVAC pricing. We've been we now did it. It took about a month, but our equipment dropped from 33% of sale to low 20s.
Yeah.
Which is now best in class industry, but we wouldn't have known that without talking to people.
I love that you said that, because I have this argument with people, and a legitimate argument is I just say, why? Well, the industry standard is 30%. Why? Why does it have to be 30%?
Yeah.
What's the reasoning behind that? And if they can't give me an answer, I push, because I'm not you've been in plumbing your whole life. Yeah. I haven't. And so I want to understand the world a little bit better that I'm in. And so when I find that I ask these questions and I can't get the why answer, there's opportunity there. To go lower or to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it, for us, it became a bit, not yet, but existential, where, hey, everyone that I compete against is private equity, every single one. So if they're all paying 22% for equipment and I'm the only sucker paying 30%, I'm going to lose every September, every April, and in peak season, because they just have more flexibility. They can do things that I can't do, which for our size of a business, that shouldn't be a thing. If I'm larger than your Portco here, I should be able to nail down whatever it is that you're getting. So with basically every vendor in the world, we're finding out what PE's paying and we're demanding it. And if you don't want it, then we'll go somewhere else, because we just don't care.
Yeah. I mean, and then besides for a few really specific instances too, the amount that HVAC equipment changes in terms of do customers really care if they're getting this or that?
Yeah.
Besides for a very few instances with certain branding, like Train versus Goodman or something, there's very few people that A, either care, or B, want something specific. They just want cool air or hot air. They just want to be comfortable and they want reliability. And if you can promise those things, if you can switch branding, get them a lower price and compete better, why not?
Well, switch branding or get your key brands to drop pricing.
Yeah.
So that was one. That was a big thing. And I'd say we've taken that same philosophy to basically everywhere. So with a lot of our softwares, we're finding out what PE's paying and we're demanding it, because we know that they've given that deal somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the deal, that's often 50% or more savings.
You would be surprised, not you, the audience, I'm sure, would be surprised. Go to all your vendors and ask. Just ask. Take the opportunity. I've driven this home since day one, because I got absolutely screwed over my first year. I've told you that story 10 times. I was paying the vendor. We were buying $400,000, $400,000 in equipment with them, which isn't a lot, but it's something. And we were paying the same amount as people who were buying one piece of equipment from them.
Yeah.
And we've never used that vendor again. I refuse to work with any other salespeople, but there's opportunity there, but you'll never know unless you ask.
Yeah.
So
and then stay on top of it.
I mean,
but finding out what other people are doing. So that's the other thing. Where hey, we talk with Tommy Mello, and he has this conversation with us that he's like, oh yeah, this company down in Texas, each call taker books 80 a day. That has been rent free in my head for months. So a lot of it's how do they do that? Because right now, we're picking up 80 calls a day each. Yeah. We're not booking. Booking 80 is crazy. And then if you start working backwards, you're oh, they have an incentive program that drives books, which is that's important. So we ended up doing the same thing. So now our call takers are commissions, a week.
Okay. So not really long enough to get any results, but I'm curious on that.
So far, results are better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, we just actually went through this
doubled per call taker.
Same thing is I was pulling out my non-existent hair because I was going, we're missing 6, 8, 10 LSA calls a day. I'm paying for these things. Why aren't these getting booked?
Yeah.
And the answer was they're worried about the price, or there's this issue or this, these small issues that didn't matter.
Yeah.
And I'm going, book them. your main priority is to book everything, and then on the back end we'll deal with like if somebody has to call or move something around. But we should be booking every call we're paying for. Like, and then booking went up to like 90%. On LSA specifically, that's the one I worries about, because organic, for example, you still are technically paying for something, but not directly, right? So, but that's awesome. I mean, so are you able to say like what that looks like, or what you guys are thinking it's going to look like?
We dropped base comp in half, and we added a $10 per booked commission.
What?
$10 per booked call commission.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I'm going to come.
I mean, eventually I could see a future where there's no base comp at all.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Well,
if you're booking 30 to 40 calls a day, like you don't need base comp.
Yeah.
Like you're good to go.
I know there's a few companies that do that. I think the other one is, I want to say it's like AirServe out of Memphis. They have like a bullpen of call takers. Nothing goes to you directly. Like you have to grab it. Almost.
That's what we're doing now.
Yeah. And so you have to,
and like it changed the attitude, I think, in a good way, where
people want to
they're fighting for them.
Yeah. And that changes the culture, that changes everything around it, so that you want to answer calls and book them.
It's been something that we've been fighting with forever. And like, people have different perspectives on this. I've asked a lot of people, like, hey, where do you sit on this? Because I think, and you have to find the balance. And we're obviously still trying to find it. But if you go too far on one way, you have a call center that never books anything.
Yeah.
Because you're hiring people that are customer service, and customer service doesn't book appointments. Customer service talks to people. So you have, like, if you're recruiting customer service agents, your booking rate's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
But you obviously have to treat your customers well, and you want them to call you back, and you want it to be a good experience. So it's hard to hire that hard-nosed inside salesperson to book the call. But a good salesperson should know how to, like, if you're good at sales, it's because you know how to talk to people, not because you're pushy. So, so I've had a lot of conversations with people, and most everyone that I know leans towards the customer service. And I just can, it reminds me of VMI, where like the best way to manage inventory is to not have inventory. And it's like everyone gets so frustrated and annoyed that their call center won't just book the call, but it's like the answer is you hire salespeople and you pay a commission to book the call.
Yeah.
Like that is it. It's the same as VMI is the answer for this thing. Like maybe you can build this like culture of accountability, but like the best way is you just pay them. Like, hey, your job is this, like you get paid by this.
Yeah.
Just go do it.
And then if you don't, you won't make money.
You won't make money and we'll fire you. Yeah. Like it's not complicated.
Or you fire yourself. You'll leave because you're saying, hey, my salary is minimal. It's minimum wage because I'm not booking calls fast enough.
Yeah.
So, and then you're managing that on the back end with AI in terms of making sure that they're still hitting.
And now they want the feedback. Now they want to understand how to do better because their compensation is tied to it. But yeah, most people, like there's the spectrum of like, okay, we want call takers and we want salespeople to book the calls. And those are two totally different people. And obviously there's a spectrum of in between.
Yeah.
And like every owner that I know is just like, man, we just can't just book, we just can't do it. And I'm like, well, hire salespeople.
Yeah.
And then when I bring that up, because that's something we've been talking about for a while, like a year now, is like, okay, maybe we should just put the inside.
Your inside sales team on it, right?
Yeah. Like, because they care.
Yeah.
Like they'll care about booking it. Like our outbounders 2 weeks ago booked more calls than our inbounders. And we're just like, we have a cultural, we have a cultural problem.
Yeah.
Of like, we literally don't want to book the call. We just don't want to book the call. This was our solution.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm excited to see some numbers here in a month and see what it looks like. But I imagine just based on theory alone that works. It reminds me
they are excited.
Yeah.
Because the guys like, I mean, some of their comp doubled overnight.
Well, I was going to say you have the opportunity to make more money.
Way more.
And then on top of it increases the company-wide culture that, hey, we're all moving in the same direction towards revenue.
Yep.
And then we're willing to pay you for that. Like if we can increase revenue because we're all moving in that way, we'll definitely split off a little bit of the pot for you.
Well, and I think it opens up, like people will be willing to do more. So like, hey, want to outbound? Great. Like now they want to outbound. And it's not me forcing it. It's like, okay, well, I want to make my money.
Yeah.
Or like scouring Facebook groups, scouring Nextdoor.
Yeah.
Texting customers. Like there's a lot you could do. And I think this takes this from this like us working against each other to collaborating.
That's cool.
That's what I hope.
Yeah. It's a very interesting take on it. I mean, I see the path.
Mm-hmm.
That's neat. Now I have to process it because.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tommy Mel, like 2 months ago, he's like, yeah, dude, they're booking 80 a day. And I'm just like, how? Like,
yeah.
How? Like, what am I missing? And what I'm missing is just like this culture of that's what has to happen. And the only way that I know how to drive cultural change is compensation. Like you make it a game and you pay them well when they win. We had a couple major pain points earlier this year, and those pain points were: how do we contact our unsold estimates more frequently? How do we book our membership appointments faster? How do we stay in contact with customers and let them know that we have promotions? And how do we run a speed to lead process for Angie's Leads? When looking around for solutions, we saw a couple great softwares on the market, but our favorite one was Hatch. So when we started using Hatch, we had just switched over from another vendor, and Hatch's user interface was so easy. It directly tied into Service Titan. It automated the workflow of 5 or 6 employees a day. We're now in contact with hundreds of additional customers. We're selling a ton of our unsold estimates, and it's easier than ever to book our membership follow-up appointments. So Hatch has been a really big win for us. In order to book a demo with Hatch, click the link below.
Let me ask you the question though, that we've ran into this actually pretty recently is how do you make sure that you're finding people? Because a lot of people, I think, just large general term, they say they're motivated by money, but how are you hiring for that specific thing? Because we get that all the time. Hey, yeah, I'm motivated to make a lot of money. They love their commission structure. They love that. Yeah. And then they get into the actual position and then they won't do it. Like what in your eyes, whether it's CSR, dispatcher, inside sales, outside sales, whatever the case may be, tech, what is there a silver bullet to finding somebody who actually is driven by money? Because those are game changers. When you find those people that say, hey, I love this commission structure, like I'm going to bust it to make my money. I want to make $1 million a year. Like I'm going to shoot to make as much as I can. And then there's people who say that and they tend to be like at the very bottom. They just will not sell for the life of them or book or do what they're supposed to do.
I wish we had a magic answer for this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, I think the best answer I have is the difference between a low performer and a high performer should be high for compensation. And I think, like you said, they should weed themselves out. Yeah. Like if they're not making what they're supposed to make, that's sort of the point of the system. Like, oh, great. Because I think so maybe the only tip is like don't adapt, because in the past we've adapted, and call center is a great example. Like we dropped base comp in half, and we gave them a commission. Yeah. If that was 3 years ago, we would have soft rolled that.
So that's where I think the answer is where I've been, because that's what's been keeping me up late at night, is like, how do you make sure that what you set as their commission versus base is motivating enough to either keep them in or keep them out? And that's where I think that we've made a mistake, is our motivation isn't strong enough that they're happy on making bare minimum commission base salary.
Some of it's maybe happy and non-motivated, but some of it is like the difference has to be there. So like, that's what I mean. So in this call center example, if someone only books a few calls and somebody books 20 calls, like the person who books 20 calls and like does their job will double the compensation of the other person, but they should double the compensation of the other person.
I guess where this question I'm leading you is, so the person who doesn't book, is their compensation that they would have made now half essentially of what they were on base only? Yeah. Okay.
Like there should be shared pain. But also like they should be removed. Yeah. Like from my perspective, and I would tell this to anyone underperforming internally too. Like, look, our first core value is betterment, which means we want to win. And like, if you don't want to win, then like that's the first one. And there's 3 more. all roughly the same. So like
extreme ownership through winning.
Yeah, like
no, I'm with you. That's where my head's at, 'cause we're going through probably a restructuring of pay scale starting like January 1st, and that's where we're really diving in. Is, hey, have we set it up where even doing bare minimum is still making more? Than, have we not set standards high enough that they should have to reach those high standards to actually make money?
We still have departments that are that way, and like we're tightening it up. But I think we used to sort of like, hey, here's what we want, here's what we know it should be, and then we would go soft because it was hard to recruit or whatever.
So but that's then where it came from. Is I think hard to recruit was.
But then like it's hard to recruit, and then you end up with the people that don't work anyways. So like a best example is like HVAC sales used to be this way, where like they would have like a healthy base comp and then like a lower commission. But like now, and that was 3 years ago, John was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, okay, I get it. But now it's like if somebody in HVAC sales wants a base comp, we don't even talk to them. Like there's no point in having a conversation because like I already know that we're not aligned. I'd rather just continue recruiting because you are not performance driven. Like you're just not. Like if you're looking for a safety net, you've already counted yourself out.
I was gonna say, and the really good HVAC salespeople, they know they don't need a base comp. They know
like,
they're gonna
what on earth would you need that for? So we take that same philosophy pretty much everywhere.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And so that's kind of the conclusion that we've came up to was, hey, before when we were, 1 million, 1.2, 1.3 million, it was extremely hard to recruit on, hey, we'll pay you $10 an hour plus a heavy compensation or a commission. Now we're realizing, well, it needs to be that way. And if they don't want to come on because that doesn't fit their ideal of themselves, they're probably not a good fit anyway.
Yeah, they're not the right fit.
So that's really
it's kind of easy. It makes it easier, I think, because then it's like, oh, okay, easy. Well, okay, that's not the person that we want. Okay, awesome. Like, that was super easy.
I mean, also times have changed too. The labor market has softened. Like 2 years ago, do you remember? I mean, maybe you not specifically, but hiring was way more difficult.
Hiring's roughly felt the same.
I think
I don't think we've noticed a difference.
Well, you're one of the bigger players in the market, so I think that it's easier. But when you're a small player with no healthcare, no nothing, it's really hard. Though at the same time, right? Commission should be the one thing that as a small company, you can offer people like, hey, we can offer you benefits, but if you are able to sell, we can offer you 40, 50,000 more a year. But you have to be able to actually
perform. Yeah, you got to perform. No, I agree. I think, but sort of rounding this out, it all started with talking to other people and like, hey, what do you do here? And I think there's this book that I like to read every like couple of months. It's called How to Double Your Profit in 6 Months or Less. Have you read that by Bob Pfeiffer? It's a good one.
I need to try.
It's a good one. I like it a lot. And one of the chapters is like find out what other people are paying. Because if somebody's cut that deal, then you can get that deal. So if you're Service Titan, like we're in this group chat and like we're sharing what we pay per user.
I wasn't gonna bring it up, but
but like people are paying twice as much as me, and I'm paying more than other people. I know what they pay, or like interchange rates for credit cards. Like I know what this person's paying, and I know what I'm paying, and like this deal's already been cut. I should be able to get it.
We just went back to Service Titan to get our interrate deal change because of that conversation. And it's just taking 3 to 4 weeks to get the fintech team
Where'd you
on
end
board.
Up?
They still haven't gotten back to me. I requested. I mean, we will switch, like, because we're paying 3.6% on every interaction. And I know that what other people are paying, and it's a point plus less than us. And that's crazy. Like we spend almost every one of our, we don't do financing really. We've talked about this before. We're like 4 or 5% financing. So people are paying for units on credit cards more often than not. And we are like $1 million on credit. I'm saying 1% is significant.
It is.
Like, and it goes straight to the bottom line. Well, go straight to.
No, it's a big deal. But I think like finding out what other people are doing, and I think the big encouragement there is just like talk to people.
Well, it's getting groups, right?
Getting Facebook groups. And like have an open conversation. We do need to start like a workshop, like text group, because we'll be at 50 total people now after this one. But it'd be Like, hey, what are you doing for this? What are you paying for this? What does your HVAC equipment look like? What does your plumbing equipment look like? We're having a discussion right now of like how many call takers are in your call center. And I think those are all helpful because I think it lets you get lined up.
all the way down to fleet. Like we were having those conversations about enterprise fleet and like where are you coming in? And so we know what's out there on the market at any point in time and what deals are made at what size businesses.
Yeah.
So like we have 20,
and you should be able to ask for them.
20 trucks. And so we are in the process of negotiating fleet.
Yeah.
Like, so having those conversations is really important. And then I think networking, getting into Facebook groups, coming to these workshops, just masterminds, anything you can do to get around other owners that are in similar home service industries is one of the keys. I wouldn't be anywhere near where I'm at today without without the Twitter to masterminds to Facebook groups to all these things, just because there's so much out there and it's changing so fast. To fully round it out to the beginning.
No, it really is.
It's kind of changing crazy. So fast.
It's kind of crazy. And I think I know we've talked about this with AI, but it is crazy because it feels like every month, like whatever you were using was now antiquated.
Yep. No, it doesn't feel like it is that way.
Yeah. So be cautious when signing AI contracts.
Yeah. Make sure that it's not like it's 3-year deal or something crazy like that.
Yeah. Because it's just like, it might be antiquated like really soon.
Yeah. Well, and then, once you start talking with these companies too, you can see the direction I think they're all going, and talking with other people who know, the startups that are rolling out, like you can see paths that this can actually take and really change the course in like 2 years. Yeah.
No, I agree. So sign short-term contracts. And also like what
I've not financial advice,
what I've roughly found out, and I think this is like a fun thing to like take to different parts of your P&L. This is again just from talking to people, is just assume that private equity pays 50% less than you on every single thing on your P&L. 50%. So like know that that's the deal that you're working with.
Yeah.
Like that's it. And crack open a section of your P&L. Like Verizon, we just saved 80%.
Yeah, I believe that.
Like
we need to go back to them. Yeah. Gosh, it's such a that's something that's going to keep me up at night because I know that
we went from 20,000 a month with Verizon to 6.
Yeah. Well, insurance alone, we went from 100,000 to 27,000 a year.
How'd you do that?
Broker.
God, that sounds great.
100 to 27.
That's crazy.
But it did require like pulling someone off.
Yeah.
And so there was like moves that had to be made, but it's across the board. And legitimately, I think that is one, like as a small business owner, I think that you should be working on like 1 or 2 of those every week, trying to negotiate, and move it down.
I agree. Because like the more you work on it, and I could give so many different examples. Like one we're doing right now is our VoIP software. There is a better, and it's just because of how much technology is advanced. Like when we signed a 2-year contract, and like in VoIP, that might as well be ancient history. Yeah. So like we're now paying 2 times as much as every other competitor per user with way less features. And we're just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
So I'm breathing heavy because I'm starting to stress out because I know like we needed to switch off of, we're using Grasshopper, which is like a super old, there's no real features.
Yeah.
And it's been on my backlog of list of things to do forever. And but just based on Moore's Law alone, right? You know that their computing power is doubling every 2 years or whatnot. And
and you can just
do prices are going down.
Yeah. Like, our per user price is literally getting cut in half on our VoIP. And like, we're going to try to go lower than that.
Yeah.
But finding out what other people are doing, talking to them, but the per call and like what people are paying for HVAC equipment. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Do you still, in those meetings, feel like you have to sell your story a little bit?
I would say no.
For you personally or just in general?
It depends on what it is. Like if it's our voice over IP, then no. Like I want to go from 40 grand a year to 15. Like they don't need to know our story. I just need phones. With others, maybe. Because they need to see the path to growth, especially if you're asking for PE deals.
Yeah.
Because like we're asking for PE pricing and they have 4,000 techs and I have 100.
So that's kind of where I'm coming from. So when you say comparing yourself to PE, to try and get the same deal, like they definitely have purchasing price advantage.
Kind of. What I've also just found out is that a lot of the PE shops are negotiating as themselves. Mm-hmm. So they're getting, in total credit to Ryan, our director of sales, but like they're getting pricing irregardless of them being private equity owned.
You know,
purely because they're just asking for it better than I am.
So what I was just going to say is I was just talking to a large roll-up. They have, I don't know, I think it's like 100 million in top line right now, and they're still growing. And the joke that we were talking about is he was saying, I thought we had good pricing power until I buy some $2, $3, $4 million shop, and somehow they have a sweetheart deal, or that they have the best purchasing power that we have ever seen, and we aren't even getting that.
Yeah.
And so I know it's out there.
It's a thing. Yeah, it's a thing. Like you can negotiate HVAC pricing as good as PE. And I think that's why I keep saying, that they struck that deal somewhere so they can give it to you.
Yeah.
Because someone already has it. And they'll say some bullshit about like, oh, it's their scale. But like someone approved that deal. Mm-hmm. So they don't have to go back to their boss. They don't have to ask for a custom whatever. That deal is already cemented in as a code inside their ERP.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is be like, give me that code. Like it's already there.
That code's already there.
That code already exists. Mm-hmm. You don't need to go to the CEO.
Right there,
yeah, you don't need to go to the CEO, approve this new code with this different price. It already exists. It's like, let's just
jump on that one.
And then like bid.
That's really, I mean, I know we've had this conversation before, but it is a really good reminder because
well, we've gotten better at this.
Yeah.
So we have like this is a portion of someone's responsibility, is that like every month we go into it with a list of like, here's what we're going to F up this month.
What a great term for like not a CFO, but like a bookkeeper or a controller on the side when you got some downtime, just
go fuck it up.
Go fuck it up.
Yeah. Like the spreadsheet for September is called Fuck It Up September. Mm. Yeah. But it's funny. Like our projected overhead savings is $20,000 for like a month.
A monthly savings.
Yeah. So $250,000. Yeah. It's kind of wild.
That's huge. And so if you think about it, you have 6 or 7 of these big pots of money that are just sitting. That's what Tommy Miller also said, is once you get to a size of scale, he said that
you just keep we keep like randomly finding
pots of money,
$5,000 savings, like almost everywhere we look. Like dumpsters. Did I tell you about dumpsters?
No.
So like one day, and this is what started this position of like, let's fuck it up once a month, is I look at my dumpsters and I'm like, I'm paying $4,000 a month for dumpsters? Like that seems like a really big number.
Yeah, that's
kind of wild. So then we negotiate dumpsters and now it's like $1,100. Mm-hmm. Like that's $38,000 a year. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Verizon, we went from literally $20,000 a month to $6,000. Like that's insane.
You're talking about 75% cuts on all of these.
Yeah, while keeping the exact same level of service.
And so for everyone out there listening, think about all of your reoccurring payments, and if you can cut them by 70%, 75% expenses.
Yeah.
Like it solves the...
But it's just like continuing to push on it, because because I think what people think is they're like, oh, that's fine. Like, nah, I did that last year, whatever. We do this every month and we still find 10 to 20 things a month that we haven't touched yet. Like voice over IP, we haven't even thought about that. Mm-hmm. And then one day I was like, we should look at that. And then boom, $30,000 savings.
I just need to pull my like reoccurring expense list and just like put it onto an Excel spreadsheet and just like hit it from the top. Anything we're
like what shows up? Like, hey, what's your uniform look like?
Yeah.
What's your trash look like? What's your cable? What's your cell? And then what are your vendors? Because like your vendors, you can save $500,000 like in a day.
Yeah.
If you switch vendors.
Well, I think that is an important part to this too, that we're kind of sidestepping, is you do also have to be willing to switch vendors if it doesn't come.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And understanding that, there's more vendors out there. There's a little bit of hassle.
Yeah.
But, not every vendor is going to be a good vendor.
Yeah.
So, or a good vendor.
Yeah, you're ready to switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you're looking for a partner. What we do, depending on like the level, is we'll either have me get involved. Like if it's a big enough thing, like I'm going to personally handle it. And if it's not, then I get to be the big bad wolf, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
So they refer.
I've seen you do that before too.
They refer to me as ownership. Like, so ownership's not gonna be happy.
I've seen John just like absolutely destroy vendors in this office. Sorry to other vendors who are listening. They weren't actually your vendors, but there was someone that like snuck in and was trying to get your business in insurance, surprisingly.
Okay.
And you just shut them down so hard. I was like, holy cow. Just
why
are you in here? Well, it was insurance vendors.
Okay.
They came in, they're just asking for your business. And you, like, off the top of the dome, if I remember correctly, you had this wrong, and you weren't willing to work with me. Mm-hmm. And so are you willing to work with me now? And they're like, well, we'll take a look at you. And you're like, no. Like, are you willing to work with me right now on this and give me a commitment? Because I'm not going to go back and forth for 2 months.
Well, it's so easy to waste time.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what we tell people now.
And they snuck in.
Yeah. But I'm in a I was in a conversation now with like one of our softwares, and it's expensive. It's $50,000 a year. Mm-hmm. And I found out what PE pays, and big surprise, it's half. So I was like, okay, well, hey, you're going to meet me at half, or otherwise here's our cancellation. Like, I don't care. There's 3 other competitors lined up right behind you, and they said they will match that price.
Yeah.
So like, I don't care. And everyone wants to get you on the phone and work through their pitch, but like, I don't care. Like, I really don't care.
I don't have
like,
time for that.
Yeah, I'm good. Like, will you meet the price? Yes, no. If we get on the phone, I'm just going to say the same thing, which is, will you meet the price? Yes, no. I don't care about your features. I don't care about your whatever. Like, will you meet the price?
Ironically, it's the opposite of what we are looking for in
customers.
Customers. We are our own worst customers.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And last question on this thread is, do you do this with banking? I think
there's a path to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going through this right now, where we're looking at like lines of credit and trying to get a banking partner to grow with, because we're like, our real estate that we're already in is too small. We've talked about that before. And so we don't know what the next step is in terms of like next year. We're going to have to go out and hunt either to lease a large building or to potentially purchase. Yeah. And with that, we're looking for a banking partner. Is that kind of a similar, or like, how do you view that?
My general philosophy, I'd say for everything, like we just did this for accountants. So anything, when the worst decisions that I've made is when I think that there's no other competitors. If you're getting ready to sign up for something, you should understand the landscape.
That's fair.
And like, what else is out there? Because I think, like, let's say HVAC equipment, you won't know what you're negotiating. Like, if you don't know who the patsy in the room is, it's you. And if you only talk to one vendor, you don't know what you're negotiating.
Yeah,
you don't understand the landscape. You don't know what you can ask for. You don't know what you can't ask for. You don't know the lines. And because of that, like, you'll get taken.
Hence my story.
Yeah, you will. So I think like bidding and like talking to everyone you can is just, it's as much about learning like how to do it. So like if I'm doing a big stake negotiation where like banking or like HVAC, I'm going to save a ton of money, or I'm going to do this, like I'm not going to stop at 3. I want to talk to like 10 people, and I'm going to wheedle it down as fast as I can to like 3 to 4. Mm-hmm. But when I talk to those 3 to 4, I want to know every possible thing that I can get out of that relationship. And I want to know exactly what I can and can't ask for. So if I'm thinking water heaters, I'm going to talk to 10 people to sell water heaters. Yeah. I'm going to figure out okay, what size of my rebate? What's this look like? How do terms look? How many will you stock here? So we're going to work through all of the different potential scenarios that I could get. So if you're bidding big stakes, my quick stance is like, I like to cast the net very wide, get as much data as possible, and then narrow it down to my top 3-4 choices, and then negotiate there.
That's good framework, because I think that's what I'll probably do then. Yeah. Is we were planning on meeting with 3 local banks, but I think maybe spread the net out wider and try and
go 10. Yeah, see 10 what happens.
And then whittle it down as that.
Yeah, because you'll because I think it's also helpful because like 3 isn't enough of a sample size yet to know what you hate and don't hate.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And you really you need to learn the landscape. Yeah. You need to know the rules. And like by probing more questions, you'll get more of the rules.
Well, definitely. And what the bank internally has and doesn't have, and are they internal rules or are they state rules?
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot there, and that's kind of the question behind it is, have you done that? But it sounds like you haven't, and that's the answer. So I'm in.
I don't know that we've done it with banking specifically, but over the past few years,
so have you used the same bank since 3 million?
Roughly.
Yeah.
I think that like my quick take is banking doesn't really change to like 5 million of EBITDA.
Yeah.
It's like there's small business banking under 5 million of EBITDA, and then there's real banking after 5 million. So like I'm still in like small boy banking. So like when there's a meaningful enough change in the scope of our business, then we would deal with it.
Yeah. Which is fair. No, it's actually really helpful to know that you've utilized the same person pretty much as a partnership for the entirety of your growth.
There's a few of them that have like and that's why I think you spread the net really wide, because then you will figure out exactly who can I work with for the next 5 to 10 years. Because I don't want to like, then you hold them accountable and you do whatever you need to do. But like, how is this
and
really
they understand your business. They understand the growth trajectory. They understand kind of
and you know what to ask for,
intricacies of your business, so they know what they can give you with that, and what kind of programs or deals or whatever can help you. And that's the
But if you don't know, if you don't have enough data, you're going to make a badly informed decision for the partner, and you'll have to reselect again in another year.
Yeah, which would suck. So
right. So like if you just like deal with it now and work through it, then by spending that extra time up front talking to more, you'll know all the things you want to negotiate on. So in a year, you're not like, dang, I should negotiate on that. You took the time now, you figured it out, and you worked through it.
Sweet. That's good advice.
But those are the big changes in our business, is like where we talk to people on the show, and it was like, what do you mean they're booking 80 calls a day? Now I can kind of see a path to it. Like in our first day on the new commission structure, people booked 30, which was an all-time record. Like that's crazy. And like they were like, like I want to fight for more calls.
Right.
So and then HVAC equipment, and we always have stuff in the burner of like how we're trying to tighten up margin.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to do some basic math here. If the person works 10 hours a day, books 30 calls, that's $300 divided by 10 hours is $30 an hour.
It's good. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great pay by many means and standards.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that one. I love it. Awesome,
Sweet.
man.
This is
cool.
I liked it.
It's
workshop time.
Yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited to meet everyone tonight.
Yeah.
If keep an ear out if you guys missed this one. I know there's a few people who couldn't make it.
Yeah. Like we'll probably have another one.
Another one in April. And we're excited. I mean,
and then I'm aiming for a big conference next September.
Me too. I'm down. That'll be a good time.
Yeah.
I still have to make some of these big conferences. Like our business hit a big rock as I was going to Main Street Summit.
Yeah.
And I had to back out and lose all my money on it. But like, I do want to experience some of this.
It's fun.
So I'm excited. Well, thank you all for listening.
Check out ownedandoperated.com. We got workshop. We got blog stuff. We got
newsletter, Facebook pages, and
we got all the things, man.
We're a trove of information to help you grow your business because it's grown mine. So I appreciate y'all. Yeah. Thanks all.
Thanks.